Inside this room, all of my dreams become realities, and some of my realities become dreams.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
You are listening to The Wilder Ride, getting wilder by the minute. Here are your hosts, Alan Sanders and Walt Murray.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Wilder Ride, getting wilder by the minute, a podcast that celebrates the films of Gene Wilder 1 minute at a time. And for season 2, we are diving into Blazing Saddles, one at the number 6 dance that follows at a time. I'm Alan Sanders, your host.
I am Walt Murray, your co-host.
And joining us again, the guys from the radio show BK on the Air, BK and Commander Clark. Welcome back.
I'm BK and I'm a ghost of your host.
Ghost of the host? I'm Commander Clark, and I can't wait for this number 6 dance.
I hear it's pretty exciting.
I hear it is, too.
Especially if you're a dude.
Mm-hmm.
Walt's like, what?
Yes, Walt?
I'm lost.
Now we need crickets.
You've gone into darkness.
I'm just figuring out how to salvage
So he's
this
now off into darkness.
this prairie.
Dun, 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 dun.
Jesus, another prayer. Would you? That is not as funny as you guys think it is.
No, it is.
No, it's not.
Okay, so we're going to put up a poll.
Okay.
Don't say poll.
Put up a poll. You know, they are the one ethnic group that doesn't take a beating in this movie.
Who?
Polish.
That's right.
The poll.
Because they
That's
have
true.
all so much already.
Yeah. The poll. I guess it's just too easy.
I didn't see that coming.
That's my only note.
You said the polls. I'm thinking,
except
what are you
for
talking
too
about?
Jewish.
Like, too Jewish. There's no strippers
Yeah, those are my
in
two
here.
notes.
Too Jewish. All right.
At least I don't work for Jews. Oh, wait, that's funny. That's Monty Python.
wrong.
Sorry. That's Monty Python.
Wrong. Completely
Monty
wrong everything.
Python. Sorry. I am sorry.
So sorry.
We are so getting thrown out of the movies by minutes group.
We're done.
Yes.
This is it.
We're cooked.
We go out on
That's
season number 2. Well, at least we're going out on number
halfway
2.
through it.
Hey, going out on my birthday. That's pretty good.
That is, it's your birthday today,
Oh, yeah,
right?
happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
So now I guess I'm old enough to know better is really the problem.
but not care.
You've been old enough to know better for a long time now.
Now you would think.
Yeah, I use that excuse all the time at home.
My problem is, look who I'm surrounding myself with.
Yep.
Yeah.
Show me your friends, I'll show you who you are.
Yep, exactly.
3 other numbskulls.
Hey, Mo!
Hey, I resemble that remark.
So what is his list later? Nitwits.
Nitwits, halfwits, dimwits, slugs, pugs, thugs, Mexican bandits. At some point, I'm going to memorize that. And the Methodists.
No Polish ones, though.
No,
Nope.
not a one.
Nope.
Kind of left out.
Yeah.
Wait, does he make fun of the French in this movie?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean,
Maybe.
Well, Alan would be
I know
the
it's
first one to
Irish.
notice.
I wouldn't notice.
But,
Why, you're
but I don't
French?
think they did.
Just because I'm French Canadian?
I don't think he did.
I'm just the short
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
You okay, eh?
Hey?
What's it all about?
There's a moose loose in the hoose. Get it out.
and
Go
of
back
course
to drinking your Molsons.
That's a pre-Dr. Seuss title.
Pre-Dr. Seuss, yeah. He decided to change it, though.
Actually, that was the Canadian Dr. Seuss. Actually, it was the guy who actually Dr. Seuss murdered as part of the Dr. Gillespie killings.
All of his
Dr.
writings.
Seuss killings.
He stole all of his work and kind of just tweaked
Poisoned
it a little
ham.
bit.
It turned it green.
Dr. Gillespie.
Yeah, that other guy up there in Manitoba, he didn't have green eggs and ham. It was like pink eggs and Spam.
Now the population is 78.
green eggs and murder.
1 shoe, 2 shoe, red fish, blue shoe. What? Ah, I'm going to change this title around, make it my own.
1X, 2X.
Horton here's a cow. Wait, what?
Well, I did have notes for this minute.
I
I can just throw away.
Instead of thing 1 and thing 2, it's like left boob, right boob. I call my wife things 1 and thing 2, but not to her face.
You can't tell we're recording late at night, can you?
We know what he's going to edit out of this one.
Everything, the whole
That one
episode.
right there.
I dropped some of these Easter eggs to know whether or not she actually has ever listened.
And we know that
I'm still alive to this
the next
day.
Minute you
She
have
doesn't
a-
even listen to
we
the
know
episode
that.
she's on, even
Right.
when she's here recording with us.
She wasn't even listening.
She was like-
when she was live.
Yeah, she was reading a book.
We know she heard it because Alan comes in the next minute with a lump on his head.
It was actually the state code on divorce is what she was reading while she was sitting here.
So remember that scene in Naked Lunch when Peter Weller meets up with what's his name, Bilbo Baggins,
Ian Holm,
and they're having this conversation about something or other. And the guy says, Ian Holm's character says, I plan to kill my wife, but they can't do anything to me because it's not premeditated. And Peter Weller's looking at him like, what are you talking about? You just got done telling me you're going to kill your wife. And he says, no, if you pay attention, my lips are not matching what I'm saying. I'm actually having a different conversation with you right now. And the lips don't match all of a sudden.
That's David Cronenberg.
Oh, yeah.
There was a reason I said that.
Why?
And now I can't remember.
You can't remember.
Well, I've always just gotten stuck on the fact that there's no way I'm going to eat a meal naked.
Oh, that's what Susan was doing when she was in here recording her podcast.
Eating a meal naked?
What?
No, I will take a line from the Four Seasons.
Okay.
I now know what I meant. She was saying something, but her mind was elsewhere saying other things.
Oh, I thought you meant she was eating naked
That's
while
what
she
I
was
was-
in
I
here.
was like-
I thought, wow.
I guess you pulled the shades.
Jeez, yeah.
Which chair was she in?
Did the train see her when it went by?
Well, how else am I supposed to do it?
I have to say, I may not have ever misinterpreted anything as badly in my
and
life.
every one of us misinterpreted what he said. So that's exactly what I thought he meant.
She was
Well, that's
in
only
here.
because we had to, for folks who didn't know, playing along at home, we had to pause for outside noise for about a minute and a half. And so everything got just like,
We went crazy.
Well, that and we're a bunch of idiots.
like that scene in the Lego movie. When he sees the girl take her hat off, and he's just like, I forgot what word he was saying. He's like, yeah, so how are you?
Yeah, I've been there.
He just goes and goes and goes. I can't wait to see Lego Movie 2. All right, well, did I even introduce what we're doing in this minute?
I don't even know.
I don't think
The
so.
whole show's about.
No.
All right, well, here we are, minute number 12, and we are diving into the scene where we start with there must be a way of scaring them off, and it's going to end with that uppity, and I don't know what else happens. That's all I've got in my notes is that uppity, and I don't know what else. So we're going to have to go through this and see what is happening here. We are still trying to figure out how in the world does Hedley Lamar get the town of Rock Ridge for his very own?
Which we discovered Rock Ridge is several places in the United States.
Hopefully he
it is
gets
that
the right
in
one.
California.
Yeah.
That might be the one that he's supposed to get.
Yeah, could be.
I have a feeling that's where they filmed it.
In the real Rock Ridge?
No, in California. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where Rock Ridge, California is, but
In
Near
Oakland,
Oakland.
apparently.
in where?
Oakland.
Oh, okay. I know where Oakland is.
Up in the Bay.
Bunch of Raiders over there.
Well, occasionally.
Possibly.
The most movable team in the NFL.
In the NFL. All right.
And
so
Barry and I tune out.
we go back to. All right. So Hedley Lamar is trying to figure out how do I scare them off? He's talking to himself. And Taggart, he really wants to ask a
Taggart's
question.
raising his hand like he's in class.
Ooh, Mr. Carter, Mr. Carter. That's right. I got. I love this ad lib. This is not in the script.
It's down the hall and to the left.
When he turns around, he goes, "Oh, just down the hall to the left."
Yes.
Not in the script at all. Harvey Korman just adding that line about you must need to use the bathroom because you're hopping around and dancing like a child.
Well, and I also like that it's a brush off line because he's just like,
Yeah, I'm busy thinking here.
yeah,
go-
you're not important, move on.
Yep. And he says, "I've got an idea."
I know how we can run everybody out of Rock Ridge.
How?
We'll kill the firstborn male child in every household.
He's like, "I know how we can run everybody off. We'll kill the firstborn male child of every household."
And that sounds very familiar. Where have I heard that before?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that. There's an ancient book that people have tried to suppress over the years.
Yes.
Known as the Bible.
Not too Jewish.
That's right.
Oh, I thought that was Catcher in the Rye.
I thought it was that Madonna sex book.
Catcher where?
Is that what it's from?
This, of course, I think Commander Clark has some notes on this, but this does come from the ancient stories of the Old Testament.
Oh, I thought you were going to amaze us with your biblical knowledge.
I thought it was from the movie I saw, 10 Commandments.
The 15 commandments? Oh, no, 10.
Yeah.
Oh,
You ever hear that old joke? He comes down from the mountain, Moses and he says, I got some good news and I got some bad news. He goes, the good news, I talked him down to 10. The bad news, adultery's still in there.
Yeah.
Or the great scene from History of the World Part 1 when Mel Brooks is Moses and he says, I bring down you these 15
Smash.
Drops the tablet.
10 commandments.
10
Wonder what were on
commandments.
those 5 that he dropped.
Well, I just saw an episode of The Simpsons the other day where Moses is giving out the law, and each time he reads one, like Homer the adulterer and whoever go, oh, man.
That's right. Well, you're right. It's from that. You know who I really love, though, in this particular minute that we're watching? The performance of Lewis Burton Lindy Jr. I love his performance in this.
Oh, you gave his actual birth name.
Yes, I
That's
did.
cute.
But which one, whose name is that?
I'm
in
going to
this scene?
guess it's Slim Pickens.
Yep.
Well, you'd be right.
No
I bet
studying.
I bet you can't tell me how you got the name Slim Pickens, though.
I actually don't know.
You don't know.
Nope.
Well, he
Was
wanted
he really
to-
skinny and he used to pick his nose?
That's a good guess, but that is incorrect.
Oh.
The,
Was he always picked last for kickball?
that's another very good guess, but I don't think kickball was invented when he was
Maybe
a
he was
kid.
late to dinner and all that was
he-
left on the table was
Oh.
Slim Pickens.
He was the
Another
only guy
good
that
guess.
showed up at the first boy-girl dance, and all the girls kept going, well, this is Slim Pickens.
Well, in fact, all of your reasons are better than the actual reason. So
Was
why
he a
don't we
guitar
just say it's
player?
those?
A thin
You guys
guitar
keep
player.
guessing. You may actually get to the
Was he a
right
mud
one.
wrestler?
No,
Okay.
but he plays a rustler on here.
Didn't he used to be a rodeo clown?
Not a clown, but he was going to ride in the rodeo as a younger lad. And the guy took a look at him, and he said he was going to take. He was up for winning $400 in the rodeo, and he says, "Where is it on here? Yeah, here it is." He says that he was told by the doubtful rodeo manager there would be Slim Pickens for him in this rodeo if he ever tried to win any money. So that name stuck, and he goes, "I think I'll call myself Slim Pickens." So he did after that. So
Easier to spell.
all of your stories were much more interesting than the actual story was. How about that?
What is his real name?
His real name is Lewis Burton Lindy Jr. That would be really long on a movie marquee, so Slim Pickens looked a whole lot better than that. So
Excellent.
I think it did.
Well, you know, this is a great place for us to insert just this little bit where Burton Gilliam did tell us about how he and Slim Pickens became really good friends after this. And this was the only picture they ever worked on, but they used to go and hang out and do a whole bunch all through the rest of their lives until Slim Pickens passed away.
We interrupt this episode to bring you a comment from actor Burton Gilliam.
You know, Slim became my very best friend in the business. Oh, he was so good to me. He knew I was brand new, and he said, "You just kind of watch me do what I do," and said, "If you don't say the lines just right, you say them the way that you would say them, and they're going to love it." And I did, and he and I went to lunch every day. He knew, Warner Brothers and the area around Warner Brothers like the back of his hand, and sometimes we'd take Alex with us or somebody else, but and he became my best friend. He and his wife, we went, my wife and I, we'd go up to visit them after they moved up to Columbia, California on the old 49er highway. Which is right up next to Yosemite. So we'd always go up and spend a couple of days with them before we'd go to Yosemite. And they were just wonderful people to us. We knew their whole family, and they treated us like family. They were so good.
We now bring you back to the Wilder ride.
And they seemed like they would because they were of that cowboy wrestling type of guy.
Well,
I think they would have.
Burton he knew how to ride a horse, but he wasn't a horseman like he commented, Walt, that Slim knew how to ride a horse so well that he almost made it look like he wasn't trying. And he goes, and I wanted to look like I was really good, so I had to sit up and try. And he said, but I always watched whatever he was doing, and I'm like, well, it's working for him. I'm going to try it too. And Slim just kept saying, actually, the best advice Slim gave him, he said, now you've got these lines, but if you feel free to kind of make them your own, and if it doesn't sound like you would say it a certain way, say it the way you'd say it, and if they don't like it, they'll tell you to change it. But say it the way you feel more comfortable. Mm-hmm. And that's why some of the words are definitely different from the script, but having no training, no acting, none whatsoever. He didn't even do a school play. He said he just showed up one day for an audition for Paper Moon as an extra. They liked him enough from the audition for an extra that they asked him to come back and meet the director. The director had him read some lines, and they promoted him to the Floyd, the bellhop, or
in Paper Moon.
Paper Moon,
right.
And that led to him meeting Madeline Kahn, who was also in Paper Moon. And Madeline Kahn says, we will work together again one day. And the very next picture that he walks in on, Madeline Kahn was in the room for the reading. And she goes, I told you.
And that's the old days of networking, kids.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah.
So I guess he's just a natural.
We spent 2 hours talking to Burton, and I've been on and off the phone with him a couple other times. Do you get the feeling that everybody he's ever met is his friend?
Yes. Just about.
Yeah, he has that.
A good friend of his?
Yeah, I mean, he just makes friends with people.
He told us, he goes, I think my Facebook allows for 5,000 friends, and I've got all of them right now.
Yeah, his friend list is full.
He goes, now I may only know 300 of them personally, but I've got 5,000 friends.
That's such a nice guy in real life, but played such bad characters sometimes. He was really evil in a lot of things that he was, especially in Gator with Burt Reynolds. He was a real sleaze bag.
But you know what? And he made a comment about that. He said, I always got cast as these heavies, and he said, I hated it because I didn't know how to play a heavy.
Yeah,
I know.
He's like, I wanted to be the hero. I was a firefighter.
Well, speaking of Slim Pickens, I consider myself a Slim Pickens fan. I'm going to name my favorite roles that Slim did and see if you guys remember him. I know you remember him in most of these. These are just my personal favorites of movies that he's done. Dr. Strangelove for Stanley Kubrick, 1964.
Yes.
Who will ever forget him riding the bomb down out of the bomber?
Nope.
You can't.
Just riding and I don't think anybody else.
That is
did.
one of those Hollywood iconic scenes.
Yes.
That you just,
Right.
Even if you've never seen the movie.
Right.
That's right.
Yep.
You know that
that.
scene, and you know Slim Pickens.
Kind of like the drop your pants scene in Deliverance. If you've never seen the movie, you know about that one.
Squeal,
That's right.
boy.
Which has actually nothing to do with it. He played Wiley in 1965 in Major Dundee, a fantastic Sam Peckinpah film, which was great. Another great role. Blazing Saddles that we're watching now from 74. Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, another Sam Peckinpah movie, which he played Sheriff Colin Baker in that in 1973. The Apple Dumpling Gang. You guys remember him as Frank Stillwell?
Yeah, that was a great
75
movie.
from Walt Disney's Apple Dumpling Gang.
Saw that in
That's
the theater.
actually, I think, one of the earliest things I saw him in.
One of the first movies I remember being taken to the drive-in to see.
The Apple Dumpling Gang?
The Apple Dumpling Gang. It was a double feature. It was the Apple Dumpling Gang followed by Freaky Friday.
So it was a Disney twofer.
Yes, it was.
So in the Apple Dumpling Gang, who else was in that with him?
Bill
Don Knotts.
Bixby.
And
It was Don Knotts and Tim Conway were the two main guys,
yes.
right?
So who's the girl that was in Webster and Porky's? The redheaded girl. The redheaded girl.
Putting
Susan
those
Clark.
two
Was it
next
Susan
to
Clark?
each other.
I think it was Susan
He was
Clark.
in Webster.
I was going to say Halle Berry.
Well, that's
That's
the only two
one
things I can think of
today.
that she was in. Susan Clark, I think, was in Apple Dumpling Gang with Bill Bixby.
Is that your sister?
We'll have to look it up.
Commander Clark? No. You're the only Clark I know.
I'll have to look it up.
There's a lot of Clarks out there that aren't related to me. What? Somewhat I'm thankful for, but other ones not so much.
Well, you're not going to leave out Hollis Wood, are you?
Hollis Wood?
Hollis Wood. Where's Hollywood? Right here.
Right, 1941.
Well, Hollis Wood. Here, I'm right. You're looking at him.
That was next on the list was Hollis Wood from 1941, Steven Spielberg. And in 1981, he was in Joe Dante's The Howling, the werewolf movie.
Yeah.
Yes, you remember him in that, too.
As a kid, was this always hard for you, especially, like, this was the very first movie I remember seeing Slim Pickens in. It was immediately followed, we would go to the movie theater. We saw 1941 in the theater. So I only knew Slim Pickens as a goofy, accented character actor. To see him in a serious role threw me
Oh, yeah.
all the time. I'm like, wait, that's supposed to be the funny guy. He's supposed to be the funny one.
Right.
Right.
But showed his talent because he could very easily, and his comic timing in this and his delivery,
yes.
his lines, his facial
Well-
expressions, it's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
He also was uncredited in another Disney film, and that was 1979's The Black Hole. He talked for Bob the robot.
Yes, he did.
In The Black Hole.
He was Bob. Yes, he was.
Yes, old Bob.
They
all
just sped
beat
his
up
voice up.
because
Just sped his voice up a little bit. He was basically a robot Slim Pickens.
Right.
Yep.
He
all
was
he
the
was.
same style as Vincent, but
Yes.
been beat up by
He'd
Maximilian.
been abused.
That are the Centuries as well. What's Star was the leader of the...
Star was the best of the regular robots.
Right. And I think he picked on him a lot.
It's Star.
You don't want to mess with him. I beat him once, and now look at me.
Yep.
Alan's paraphrasing there, but that's basically what
That's good. It's mostly. You know, the last time I saw The Black Hole? Probably when I was 18 or 19 and it first came out on VHS when you could rent it from the Blockbuster. And I was like, I haven't seen this movie since I was a kid because I saw that actually in the theater.
Then that was a pretty good paraphrasing then because you got pretty close.
I got close.
That's pretty
Do
nice.
you have the exact? Is it written down somewhere?
Somewhere, I'm sure. I don't have the
Yeah. IMDb might have it.
Might have. I might want to watch that again, but right
as-
now it's like a great movie in my head. And I'm afraid if
Well,
I
you
go
know
back
what?
and rewatch
The
it,
way-
it will no longer be the movie I remember.
The way the late 40s Alan is, I would suggest that he not watch it now.
Yeah,
he
I
might
know.
have a problem with
This
it.
It will
happened
be
with-
too goofy.
This happened
It
with
would be too
Willow.
goofy. Well, I didn't like Willow.
I didn't
when
like
first
Willow
saw it.
right out of the
I didn't
gate.
either, yeah.
Well, I was younger than you guys. Okay.
That's true.
You guys were already older. You guys were probably married, and I went to go see Willow.
Wait a minute. What year was that?
What year was that?
1988.
I was married.
I was
He's
not.
exactly right. Yeah, I was.
I wouldn't be
just
married
got
till the next year.
Yeah.
Well, Prairie.
Great. Now you got to edit that out.
I got to edit myself.
That's right. Never gets old.
God bless
Well,
America.
I looked up some more stuff about Slim in Blazing Saddles, and it says some reports say Pickens was so entirely committed to this character of Taggart, he wanted to ensure that he was comfortable with his surroundings and the new addition to his outfit that he had. Because of this, Pickens would often opt to sleep outside on set with his Winchester rifle in hands. And, well, it definitely seemed to work because he actually is really into Taggart in this film, because if you think about it, he probably did that. So I tend to believe that he did. He's one of those kind of actors.
Well, I'd say just from the stuff that we've seen of him, that probably wasn't the first time he ever slept outside.
Well,
I
no.
don't think he's familiar with the
Right.
outdoors. I mean, he definitely seems that way.
Doing Dr. Strangelove, like we talked about, and being in the iconic scene of writing the bomb down to bomb, he said that was a turning point in his career when he did that for Stanley Kubrick, because he said up until then, it was just on the set, it was, hey, you, come here. Hey, you. After that, it was Mr. Slim Pickens. After Dr. Strangelove, that turned his career around, he said. So I could believe that.
I can believe that too.
Oh, I can too.
He's got more money.
That's for sure, and that's what makes the whole actor world go around, doesn't it? Money and get those
Money,
roles.
money.
Well, there's an interesting story that Burton told us that I'm sure we'll bring back up again. But when you have that opportunity to get that one iconic role that can change your whole career, you have to really capitalize on it. And
Right.
there was a mistake made, and Burton, you will notice, is not in the credits of this movie.
Really? Because
He's
I
not
didn't
in
know
the
that Burton
opening
was
credits.
He's not in the opening credits.
So he's at the end.
He's not in the title credits.
And he's not on any of the posters. He's not on any of the advertisements.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know.
And yet he's a very significant character in the story. It was a actual contractual mess up that never got filed in time. And when they discovered it, it was too late. It had already gone to print and was ready to show.
But it didn't affect his pay or anything,
Yes,
right? Oh, it did?
significantly.
Now, did he not?
Not
did he
for the film, but for follow-on. Because he wasn't given the credit of a title character.
Right.
And so he probably, in his estimation, over between royalties and other things, including engagements and other activities that you get invited to for being a title, being in the title credits, he knew from $1 to $2 million that he probably has been shorted in his career.
Oh, man.
So his pay for the film was correct. It's just the residuals after that.
The
was
stuff that
affected.
follows on,
Right.
including
Wow.
all the invites to different things and activities and gatherings. There's a lot of stuff that apparently, if you're a title credit, you get it. There's a whole lot of extra fringe benefits that you would end up getting, and he was always overlooked because he was never in those title credits.
Now, we may have talked about this before, but there's always the stickler of that when you have two big stars in a movie. If we'll go down the hole again here, like The Towering Inferno by Irwin Allen. Paul Newman and Steve McQueen starred in that movie.
That's right.
But their agents wanted the other one to be the star. So he's like, well, I don't want his name to be above mine on the poster. I'm the star. And the other agent for Steve McQueen said the same thing. Well, they wound up doing something really weird. For half the posters that were released, if you look at a poster, the person's name on the upper left is usually the star, and the lower right, the other side, the name's usually lower. Well, half of them were released like that, and half of them were released just the opposite, with the other one's name above the other one like that.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they released it as Paul McQueen.
Right. They just messed up the
And
first
Steve
and last
Newman.
name. Steve Newman. Who is Steve Newman? I've never heard of this guy.
Now, see, I thought you were going to say the posters were done one way and the opening credits were done in the opposite way.
It's funny. I don't know how. Maybe they did do it on the opening credits, but their complaint was with the poster. And I think that says a lot. That says exactly everything you need to know about Hollywood and managers and everything and all that.
You just want to say, screw you, find some unknown.
Right. Let's just cast this person in.
Well, all of this started off with the line about too Jewish. And what does that mean? The original line was actually supposed to be, no, that's been done to death.
Okay.
The original script, rather than saying, no, too Jewish, much funnier, I think, to say, no, too Jewish.
And it fits this movie.
Yes.
Right. But I mean, I'm always amazed when I look at the script and I realize they spent so much time writing and rewriting and redrafting, arguing. What did Mel Brooks say in one of his documentaries? It wasn't really like writing as much as like having a fight in the room and seeing who can actually have their words left standing.
Right.
Right.
And that you have so many lines that are so much better when they improv'd it on them in front of the camera.
Okay, read the way it's written in the script again.
So it says, what about killing the firstborn male child in each household? Lamar. Nope, that's been done to death.
Too Jewish is a much better line.
Much better line.
Oh, yeah. That is a much better line.
Yeah. Harvey Korman's improv of that line, not only does it call back the joke of killing the firstborn male in each household, but it does throw, shade to Jews.
Yeah.
Which Mel loves to do.
Yeah.
As a Jew himself.
He is Jewish, yes.
Yeah. Well, and
funny.
It makes much more sense because of the context of it. Because, killing the firstborn male was in the Jewish households.
Mm-hmm.
So to say too Jewish, that just makes sense. Where the other one really doesn't make that much sense. I mean, it's okay.
I'm still trying to figure out where you went with that.
Okay.
No.
So, but okay.
Now you've done it.
But that's from the book of Exodus in the Old Testament of the Bible.
Right. So I'm saying to call back to the line just before killing the firstborn male child.
Right. That makes complete sense.
It makes more sense to add to it. That's a Jewish. It's a story from the Bible that happened in Moses' time.
Exactly. That joke flows. The other one doesn't.
Well, the funny thing is, after that, right, he says that, he goes, no, that's been done to death. Taggart's supposed to say, I don't think we have to worry about it. And I don't know why that's funny either.
And that's exactly how the audience would have reacted.
Falls completely flat.
You could go back to the last minute of that look of disgust that he had on his face watching
But
that would have been as funny as saying no to Gillespie.
Yeah,
that would have felt just as flat.
Exactly right.
I get it.
Yeah, that the way it's written in the script definitely falls flat.
It does fall completely flat. I mean, when I read it to you guys all looked at me like I read it wrong.
Right, and that's why I had to read it
like that.
because I was like, wait, is there a joke there that I missed?
Where's the line? Where's the punchline? Well, the very next line, which, by the way, improving and changing on the set, and I love how Slim Pickens decides, because the first time he raised his hand and he looked like he had to go to the bathroom, but when he is like, I've got it, the next line was actually correct. We can work up a number 6 on them. So it works much better with him thinking again, and then coming to this, I got it, and then saying, we can work up a number 6 on him. And I love Harvey Korman's like, I'm not very familiar with that one.
Yes. What is that? Please tell me what that is.
Well, that's where we go riding into town. A whopping and a whopping. Every living thing that moves within an inch of its life. Except the women folks, of course.
You spare the women?
No, we rape the shit out of them at the number 6 dance later on.
Which really shows you that Taggart is the mastermind of the whole plan in this movie.
Well, he's certainly responsible for making him think of the legal precedents for knocking the books off. That was by accident. Right. So he's actually helping. He's actually helping Taggart indirectly and not meaning to.
So Taggart is really the anti-hero in this movie.
We're not going to go down that path again.
The anti-hero.
Taggart is the Punisher of this movie.
This is really a Taggart movie.
No.
We got to punish the guilty.
I'm sorry. I think Howard Johnson is the unsung hero of this.
Just because the man has an orange roof on his outhouse, that doesn't make him...
Why would Howard name his Johnson? I never understood that.
I know we're not going to get to that for a few more minutes during the whole ride through town singing the Ballad of Rockridge, but I had no idea, as many times as I had heard it, and we will cover it when we get there, that the bartender's name is Anal Johnson.
Yes.
As many times as I heard him sing the song, it never struck me as that was the word they were saying. And so when Walt provided me with a character list, I'm like, I think you have a typo here. And he's like, no. I'm like, there is no Anal Johnson in the town of Rockridge.
Well,
yes, there is.
There is. Why would you think that I would throw a wrench Do you like that
see,
anyway?
I know how you talk at work. I thought maybe you were like saying something. You were typing in a word. You know how you're thinking one thing, typing something else?
That sounds like if James Bond had Bond guys instead of Bond girls. Hello, this is Anal Johnson in this James Bond movie.
No, they screwed up Ghostbusters that way. They might screw up that way too.
When Alan would sometimes fill in for me, I'd give him fake conventions to
Yes,
report.
that happened
So he got very suspicious if anything looks weird.
Shakespeare convention.
You did it to me once.
Yeah, you know,
Once.
Fool me once.
just once.
Well, now you guys talked earlier, I'm sure, in the minutes before that Richard Pryor was supposed to be the lead in this film other than Cleavon Little. Well, there's another casting choice that was different that you guys might not know, and it's not about this film, but it's about Slim Pickens. Slim worked with Stanley Kubrick in Dr. Strangelove. Slim was also going to play Scatman Crothers' character in The Shining, but did not do it. He was going to play the guy, the Shining caretaker that left because Slim had worked with Stanley before, and Slim says, I don't like taking 100 takes on one take with that director. I'm not doing it again because he made me take over 100 takes in Dr. Strangelove, because Stanley was known for doing that. Stanley Kubrick would make you do 100 takes till he got the one that he liked. And then sometimes you'd say, you picked the second one out of my takes. Why did you not pick the 100th one?
So he actually turned Kubrick down. Wow, I did not know that story.
Oh, that was interesting.
But you mentioned
too.
Richard Pryor. Of course, he's credited as a writer. Do you know why I read why he didn't get the part.
With this, the story with this one was he was already getting the reputation, and this was technically a low-budget film, and the insurance to cover the losses of time if we had to lose time for the actor not being prepared would have put the movie over budget. And they said, we can't take a risk with him. We're not going to give you the kind of money you need to kind of get the insurance policy to cover our losses if he doesn't show up.
So Warner Brothers wasn't afraid of his reputation as a stand-up comic being foul-mouthed.
It had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with whether or not he was going to be reliable enough to actually commit to the picture and be there every day to shoot.
I was actually watching, I think, retro TV shows Johnny Carson, and it was, just out of pure luck, it was the episode that The Exorcist come out. So the author was on there, William... it's William something.
William Friedkin.
Blatty.
William Friedkin was the director. William Peter Blatty.
Yes, it was a guest. Richard Pryor was a guest. Some older actor that name is similar to Lorenzo Lamas, but it wasn't him. But then it was
Fernando Lamas.
Yeah, maybe
Fernando Lama.
Fernando Lama. But no, and then it was the actress who plays Mel Brooks' secretary in the scantily clad Robin something. But I was watching. I'm like, oh, that's funny.
Haynes,
Blazing
Hines,
Saddles.
Robin Leach.
No, not Robin Leach.
Robin Leach.
Rockin' Robin.
Robin, the boy wonder. And she's not a boy.
Gosh, this is driving me crazy.
This is going to kill me because she's still alive.
Yes,
she is, and living in seclusion.
But I was going to say, watching Richard Pryor, though, he seemed so out of it. Some of the jokes were funny, but it was like he was almost incoherent. But he did mention Hilton. Okay, he did mention during the interview to her about helping write Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, in fact, we'll recap the story very quickly after folks that may be coming in halfway through. We cover this in our early opening credits. Mel Brooks was going to quit. He was so adamant that Richard Pryor needed to stay in, but Richard Pryor was basically, the joke was, I have not received all of my writing checks yet, and if you quit, the chances are not going to pay me, so you need to go ahead and stay on. And by the way, Cleavon Little is much better. He said, when a lot of people look at me, I've got, kind of like medium skin, I've got a thick mustache, people might mistake me for Cuban or maybe Caribbean. There's no way you're mistaking Cleavon Little for anything than a black man.
Right, that's true. And seeing his acting in Superman 3, it's good they did not go with Richard Pryor.
Well, not necessarily, because you've ever seen Richard Pryor in JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling.
I've not seen that.
That is a fantastic drama where he basically is playing himself.
Right.
It goes through him being burned. He's a stand-up comedian, and it's a drama. If you ever get a chance, watch it, because it really shows. Because usually comedians can do drama.
Oh, I know.
Very, very poignant.
Richard can do it.
And Richard Pryor, when he was on, he could do well. It's just the problem was the longer his career went on, there was less of him on the set. And you just had to deal with it. So, all right.
And we said this earlier, and I don't think we said it during our actual podcast. It's funny how Hedley doesn't notice Taggart's been hit in the head, has a head injury, until he grabs him and he screams.
Marvelous. That's so creative. Taggart! Oh, why, Taggart, you've been hurt.
Oh, that uppity you went and hit me on the head with a shovel.
I think we said that off recording earlier.
It shows you how into himself Hedley is.
He doesn't care.
He don't care.
He really doesn't. He cares about himself, and that's it.
But then after he sees it, he's like, he gets real tender. Oh, you've been hurt. You're like, what?
Little baby.
He's probably worried about the workers' comp.
Which in the next minute, we'll find out just how much of a baby he thinks he is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell you that. I've got one more fact about Slim Pickens. Let me squeeze this one in. He spent the entire enlistment when he went into World War II in the Army at a radio station. And I wonder why. You know why he did that? Because when he entered in the Army, reportedly when the recruiter asked him what his profession was, he responded, rodeo. And the guy thought he said radio and put him in as the radio station operator.
Oh, that's funny.
So I'm sure he was really happy about
Where's
that.
the horse?
At least he may have not seen any combat, so that was good.
Yeah. Well, there are some tweaks to the script here. We're talking about this working up the number 6 next after the whole too Jewish.
Number 6.
And everything that they say in the script is exactly correct about riding into town, whopping and whomping every little thing to within an inch of its life, except the women folk, of course. And then Lamar, oh, you spare the women? I love how incredulous he is. What, you spare the women? He's like, oh, no, we raped the shit out of them afterwards at the number 6 dance that follows. Then in this movie, he goes, oh, that sounds good or something. That sounds entertaining. The original script was supposed to be, it sounds grotesque, but entertaining. It just might work. And then he grabs his head. And that's when, of course, now we're talking about him finally recognizing, wait a minute, there's a bandage on your head.
Right, and you're hurt.
You're hurt.
Oh, Taggart.
You didn't see it the whole time before. Everybody else can see it across the street.
I mean, it's like almost like a diaper on his head.
It
It's
is.
so big.
And he's got his hat on.
A little tuft of gray hair coming off the top.
Well, I was telling you, well, we were not talking on this, about the Urban Dictionary actually has the number 6 dance as it's defined in there as a ball-type dance thrown in honor of successfully raiding and pillaging an entire town. It is commonplace for the women of the spoils to be raped in a ritualistic manner by the victors at the functions, which are nearly exclusively hosted by Slim Pickens, Harvey Korman, and or Mel Brooks.
That's exactly what it is.
And you said that was in Webster's dictionary?
It was the Urban Dictionary.
Urban Dictionary.
The Carl Urban Dictionary.
Wait a minute.
Oh, my goodness.
Typical.
By the way, Walt, we never did tell him what the Killing the Firstborn Sons was, in case somebody doesn't know.
Yeah, no, we haven't covered that, have we?
Basically, it was one of the plagues of Egypt, the 10th plague, where the firstborn son of Egypt will die from the firstborn of the Pharaoh who sits on the throne to the firstborn of the slave girl who is at her handmill, and of all the firstborn cattle as well. And that's from Exodus, the book of Exodus. What? I don't know how to say it. 11:1. What has chapter?
Yeah, it's Exodus 11. And the Jewish people put blood from a sacrifice on their door frame. So when the angel
creeping
flew
death
over,
will pass behind by.
Yes,
so
the angel of death.
It killed all of the firstborn of the people of Egypt, families of Egypt, including the Pharaoh. And he was so grieved that he allowed Moses to take the people of Israel out of Egypt.
And then instantly changed his mind.
Yes,
But I got a question about that. Maybe you guys can answer it. When does Imhotep get put into the tomb, though?
That's a different movie.
That's a different one.
Oh, okay.
That's later.
It's a pharaoh. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I actually got this
plague,
confused
yeah.
with the massacre of the innocents, where Herod sent out his soldiers to kill the
All the
2-year-old
anybody
and
that's
lower.
been killed lately or even born lately because they had heard the Messiah had been born.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Luckily, Mary. and
Herod
Joseph-
was not a nice guy.
No, he wasn't.
You've been listening to Sunrise Semester. Remember
Have a
Sunrise
blessed
Semester?
day.
Well, then at some point, Steve Martin sang a song about something to do with Egypt, but
He was a honky.
it's King Tut.
That's
King
right.
Tut.
Got a condo made of stona.
That's right.
Oh my God, we have lost complete control.
Honky Tut. Well, no, that's
You had control.
That's the,
When did you
but that's
have
the scene,
control?
though. That's the scene.
There were
in the scene
moments.
here, so that's
There
good.
were flashes. So we end
Wow.
as when Hedley says, "What happened?" and he's like, "Oh, that uppity." Well, he says it, but that's where it ends.
Nitwit.
That
I'm
uppity.
going nitwit.
Nitpick.
Yeah, I think it's nitwit.
I'm gonna go the uppity N word.
But what N word? We'll find out next minute, I guess.
Gonna have to wait for it. So we're
Apparently,
gonna
Fox
find out.
Family has no trouble with.
If it's not bleeped out. Yeah, that's right.
I'll tell you.
It may not have been Fox Family, but there was one network that they changed something silly, but left in all that the shitload and the N word, but didn't like some other phrase.
Well, surely
or are they blotted out the farting sounds? I think that was it.
Surely you
The
just-
TV one that I saw was they put horse whinnies in place of farts, but they had all the epithets throughout the whole movie.
Why?
But the one I saw on network TV did not use the S word. We did not have prairie dookie.
Why you scum? You scum bum.
I was trying to keep my edits down to a minimum. Yeah, we had no.
So one would think when the folks cutting it for television think, what do we put here in place of farts? Horse whinnies.
Well, they're all in the scene,
right? But I'm like, how is that funny though?
And they're standing up and
I would
sitting
have just
down
taken
for
the
no
whole
reason.
scene out.
Right.
Just doesn't make any sense. Well, we got to put something in there.
All right, so as we start to wind down minute number 12, let's go ahead and go through and see if there's any notes we missed. Walt, I'll start with you first.
I think we've covered both of my notes.
You were well prepared for today. I
was.
Good thing you didn't have more, because this was already running long.
This is a long episode.
Barry, what about you? Any other notes?
No notes. We covered everything that I wanted to talk about.
Mike?
It was mighty slim pickings.
I was just going to go ditto.
Okay. Ditto. Well, and you've taken care of all the notes I had. Mine are more script related. We went through all the changes in the script. So before we tease what's coming up tomorrow for Hump Day, let's remind everybody that the two guests with us, we'll have one more time. They have their own radio show, and you can listen to them live. Not podcast. It's live. It's true radio for the masses. You can hear them on WBHF. BK, tell us a little bit more about your show.
Yeah, I'm not good enough to be on a podcast, so we don't do that. I'm on the radio.
You're on this one.
Well, I mean, with my show, so yeah. 10 a.m. till noon every Saturday, 10 a.m. till noon Eastern on WBHFradio.org, WBHF. Or you can listen on TuneIn. Download the TuneIn app for your mobile devices, and you can hear us there anytime that we're live.
And Walt, we've got a website that pretty much is the spoke to the wheel of our universe. Tell us where we can go to learn more.
It's the penultimate place to find us.
It's not the penultimate. Not the second to last.
It's the Penn and Teller.
No, it's the second to last. As websites are dying off.
www.
Just a fad.
The Wilder Ride. It's got everything you need to know about us and more. You'll have all our guests listed there. You have their bios. You have where you can find them in the minutes. You have old episodes. You have links to some of our great stuff that's behind a paywall. You find everything you need to know about Alan and I, including Alan's picture. At www.
So it didn't have your picture.
.thewilderride.com.
Of course, his picture would be up there.
Yeah, it's got my picture.
It's got him with his merce.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's got the merce.
Oh, good.
Oh, cool.
Right,
it is
nice.
one of the few places on the internet you can find the merce.
Well, I can find it every time I watch Into Darkness.
That's true.
If it wasn't for that scene.
Well, and I was wondering, why isn't the merce on the poster? It should be Chris Pine, the merce, and Zachary Quinto.
Hey,
everyone knows
you
what
were
you're
basically
talking about, right?
center screen, center stage in that push in of everybody going, here comes a big ship.
And Star Trek Into Darkness, in case nobody knows.
That's right. StarTrekIntoDarkness.com. / The Wilder Ride.
That's what picture comes up when you call me. It's the merce.
CrappyWrathOfKhanRemake.com.
Yep. /
That
The
I
Wilder
tried to
Ride.
walk out of 7 times.
HTML.
All right, come back tomorrow, Wednesday. We're going to continue the scene because we need to find out.
Because of some reason, we're going to continue the scene. We don't know
Apparently,
why.
we're still here.
Because we're a podcast, we can't get canceled.
How about this?
Hey, unlucky
Come back
13. Unlucky
Come back
number
tomorrow
13.
and see if we're still here. We may not be. There may be no episode. You may be like, wait, where is it?
In this place, they're going to air chips.
Maybe a cooking show on this podcast when you come back tomorrow.
Where we'll hear Slim Pickens, as Taggart say, hit me on the head with a shovel. But we'll end with Hedley comforting Taggart. What's happening on Hump Day? We already saw what happens when he gets behind statue of Lady Justice. Talk about screwing Justice over. That happened earlier this week, but now all of a sudden he's going to be comforting Taggart. Something must happen to upset Taggart.
That's too Jewish.
Anyway, so come on back tomorrow for episode 13 for The Wilder Ride.
That damn Stanley Kubrick. I'm not being in another damn movie with him.
That's the guy who
takes. What is that all about?
Too many takes.
Mr. Kubrick, you said stand up and turn. Now, how many fucking ways did you want me to stand up and turn? Do it again. God damn it.
That's Alan Slim Pickens there for everybody. Alan Slim Pickens.
I got it. I ain't never working with you again, motherfucker.
This is just going to be one long bleep.
All right, well, we're going to find out more, but we got to wait for a train.
That's
wait for a train. See, I didn't hear it. He heard it before I did.
He's like radar. Yep, like radar.
Here's trains. Incoming.
In stereo.
Alan's radar, we know.
Oh, there it is.
Jesus H. Christ. Everybody wanted to be a fisherman or a... Now you've got all these
electric toothbrushes.
Tanks, spies, SMGs,
we ever do a Jaws podcast, that would just be off the chain.
Man. Oh, yeah.
That would be totally off. I know it's been done before, but not as good as we could do.
No, I know.
I'm telling you right now.
We can do all the minutes.
Yep. And I wouldn't need any notes.
I probably wouldn't.
Well, in fact, we could just do this after this. Y'all could just stay overnight.
Let's just do a Jaws one right quick. Knock it out.
Right from the Jaws cast
We could do it quickly.
Waking up with Alan.